Something has been sitting quietly at the edge of your attention, Virgo, a number that does not add up, a conversation about money you have been circling instead of having. Maybe it is a shared bill that never got fully settled, or a small gesture from someone that felt sweet on the surface, but left an unanswered question underneath. Taste Sky does not just touch that feeling. It explains it, and it hands you a way through it that most people watching the same chart will completely miss. The bigger picture. Here is what is actually happening above you today. The moon meets Venus in Libra, lighting up your second house of money, values, and self-worth in Western tropical terms. This is the house that governs what you own, what you earn, and what you believe you deserve. That is the gentle part of the day. Comfort, small pleasures, a sense that your resources are stable enough to enjoy. But the sky does not stop there. Later, that same moon swings into opposition with Saturn, sitting in your 8th house of shared resources, the zone of joint finances, debts, intimacy, and what one person quietly expects from another. So you get a pull in two directions at once. One side wants ease. The other side wants honesty about what is fair. In Vedic tradition, the reading looks different, but lands on a similar emotional note. Vedic astrologers watching your moon today describe a mood that is genuinely lighter, more flexible, more open to change, with a craving for something fresh at home. Where Western astrology names the mechanism, Vedic astrology names the feeling. Both are looking at the same sky from different angles, and that is a pattern you will notice more than once today. There is a third thread worth knowing about before we go further. Your ruling planet, quick-thinking Mercury, has been in contact with expansive Jupiter inside your 12th house, the house of forgiveness, closure, and things left unresolved. That contact does not demand your attention today the way the moon does, but its residue is still in the air. It is part of why an old tension might feel easier to smooth over than it actually is. Hold on to that. It matters more in a few minutes than it does right now. Love. Here is the emotional question worth asking before anything else. Are you being shown genuine care today, or a version of it that is easier to give than the real thing? With Venus warming your money and values house, romantic gestures land well right now. A gift, a planned evening, a partner making an effort to be thoughtful, it is likely to feel good, and you are allowed to let it feel good. That is not naive. That is Venus doing exactly what Venus does. But remember that lingering Saturn opposition. The same day that brings you a kind gesture can also quietly raise the question underneath it. Who is paying for what? Whose comfort is being prioritized? What one person is expecting in return for their generosity? You might be tempted to simply accept the sweetness and skip the conversation. That instinct is understandable. And it is also where the 12th house forgiveness energy can trip you up. It makes smoothing things over feel almost effortless, even when the real issue has not actually been addressed. If you are partnered, the useful move is not to reject the gesture. It is to enjoy it and still ask the practical question afterward about money, about time, about what is being assumed. Gratitude and clarity are not opposites. They can sit in the same conversation. If you are single, this same energy shows up as attraction that feels a little too easy, a little too smooth. Someone might be charming in a way that avoids depth. Nothing wrong with enjoying that lightness, but if you are hoping for something real, pay attention to whether the ease comes with substance behind it. You may have noticed this pattern before, the person who says the right thing but never quite follows through with the harder conversation. Taste Sky is asking you to notice it consciously instead of just feeling it. Career. What starts as a relationship question about fairness has a way of showing up again at work, just wearing different clothes. The same second house energy that is asking you to get honest about personal money is also touching your sense of professional worth. If you have been underselling your effort, quietly doing more than your role requires without saying so, this is a fitting day to notice that pattern. The Vedic reading of your moon supports this. You are described as more flexible and easygoing on the work front today, which is genuinely useful, but that same astrologer's note carries a warning. Situations can slip out of your hands precisely because you are being agreeable. Increasing responsibility can arrive faster than you expect, and if you do not name your limits, no one else will. There is a specific window worth knowing about. Vedic timing points to the hours between 5 and 6:45 in the evening as your sharpest stretch for prioritizing and executing, not for starting new conversations, but for sitting down and actually organizing what is in front of you. Use it. Make the list. Put the items in order. That is not busy work. That is the version of Virgo precision this whole day is built to reward. And here is where career quietly turns back into money. Money. This is the part of the day that rewards patience over quick fixes, and it is worth understanding why. Saturn's presence in your financial picture right now is not punishment. It is an invitation to build something durable. If you have been frustrated by a financial situation that seems to demand constant attention, the discipline you are being asked for now is the same discipline that, handled consistently, can become what looks in hindsight like a genuine long-term achievement. Saturn rewards the boring, patient version of you far more than the impulsive one. The specific area to focus on is money shared with a partner or relative, the same 8th house territory the moon is opposing today. Clear conversation about who owes what feels balanced, and what needs renegotiating can restore a surprising amount of confidence. Review the actual numbers instead of the vague feeling about them. Name out loud what feels fair. That clarity is what lets you trust your next decision instead of second-guessing it. Here is a synthesis worth sitting with. The Western picture frames this as a structural Saturn lesson about long-term financial responsibility built slowly over time. The Vedic picture, through today's flexible, opportunity-open moon, suggests a lucrative financial possibility may be forming if you stay receptive to the nuances. Different traditions, different vocabulary, but both are pointing at the same open door. Discipline now, openness to opportunity alongside it. Neither cancels the other out. Health. Here is the insight worth carrying through the rest of your day. The tension you might feel today is not really about the specific bill or the specific disagreement. It is about how much invisible weight you have been quietly holding without naming it out loud. And once you name it, the physical tightness that comes with it often eases on its own. Home life or a close relationship could test your patience today. If tension surfaces, the more useful response is a calm, measured one rather than letting frustration build silently until it erupts later. Some Vedic practitioners may recommend Saturn-related remedies, certain gemstones, mantras, or specific practices for individuals whose birth charts genuinely support them. That kind of prescription depends entirely on personal chart analysis and is not something to adopt as general advice. What is safe and useful for everyone is simpler. Be kinder to your body today. Rest when you are tired. Do not push past what you actually have capacity for, especially while you are also doing emotional accounting elsewhere. That is the real shift. Once the invisible weight has a name, your body usually stops carrying it for you. Home and family. That same craving for freshness the Vedic reading described does not disappear once work is handled. If anything, it gets stronger once you are home. You may be feeling a pull to shift something domestic today. Rearrange a room, clear out what is cluttered, open a window that has been shut too long. That desire for change at home pairs naturally with the financial honesty theme running through your day. Home that feels stable often starts with finances that feel stable, and today gives you the emotional bandwidth to work on both. Family conversations benefit from the same slower, more attentive approach that serves your relationships. If someone close to you brings up a shared expense or an old unresolved issue, resist the urge to wave it away just to keep the peace. The 12th house forgiveness energy makes peacekeeping tempting, but a real resolution, even a small one, will serve the relationship better than a smoothed over surface. Travel and spirit. If a trip has been on your mind, this is a reasonable day to let that thought take shape rather than staying vague. Cape Town has been mentioned as worth genuine consideration, not because the stars demand it, but because a change of scenery fits the same appetite for freshness that is running through your whole chart today. Spiritually, the theme repeating through every section of this day is the same one: clarity over avoidance. Whether it is a financial number, a family issue, or a quiet resentment you have been sitting on, the growth available to you today comes from looking directly at what is actually there instead of the version that is easier to accept. That is not a heavy lesson. It is closer to relief once you actually do it. Lucky signs. Pink carries the day's fortunate color, worth wearing if you want a small, tangible way to feel more in control of shifting responsibilities. The window between 5 and 6:45 in the evening is your best stretch for organizing and executing rather than starting anything new. Earth signs and grounded water signs tend to meet your energy well today, particularly in conversations about money or shared plans. Keep your explanations simple. Precision, not persuasion, is what lands. Today's guidance. So return to where this began, that small unanswered question sitting underneath a kind gesture, a bill, a conversation you have been avoiding. Taste Sky is not asking you to reject the good things coming your way. It is asking you to receive them fully and still have the honest conversation waiting underneath. Enjoy the gesture. Then ask about the cost. Do the discipline. Then stay open to the opportunity arriving alongside it. That is not a contradiction, Virgo. That is the whole shape of your day, and it is exactly the kind of clarity you are built to handle well.